The sound of a baby's faint cry echoed in the dim hallway of the small apartment building. A young woman stood there, her hands trembling, clutching a thin blanket around her newborn. Her eyes darted nervously, her lips dry, her heart pounding. She had not eaten properly in 2 days, and her baby's last formula bottle had been emptied hours ago. "Please, God," she whispered, her voice breaking. "Just help me get through tonight." Her name was Claire Williams, a 24-year-old who had once dreamed of becoming a teacher. But life had a way of twisting dreams into survival. The man she had loved left when she was 6 months pregnant, disappearing without explanation, and leaving behind only debt and heartbreak. She had no family nearby, only a few neighbors who nodded politely in the hallway but never stopped to talk. As the baby whimpered again, Claire pressed him closer, trying to soothe him. But she knew his cries weren't just from restlessness, he was hungry. She opened her worn purse and counted the coins inside, not even enough for a small bottle of milk. With tears blurring her vision, she decided she'd have to walk to the nearest grocery store anyway. Maybe, just maybe, someone would help her. The night air was cold, and the streets felt too quiet. Claire kept her head down, rocking the baby in her arms. She entered the store, her steps hesitant, the warm smell of baked bread making her stomach twist in longing. She went straight to the baby formula aisle, picking up the smallest can she could find. She stood there for a long moment, staring at the price tag. Too much. Her hands shook as she placed it back, her throat tightening. She turned toward the door, ready to leave empty-handed, when a deep, gentle voice spoke behind her. "Hey, is everything okay?" She turned and saw a tall man in a navy jacket, holding a shopping basket. His eyes were warm but curious, his brows knitted in concern. Claire hesitated. She had been raised to be cautious, especially with strangers. But something in his tone wasn't pity, it was genuine care. My baby hasn't eaten in hours," she admitted softly, her voice almost a whisper. "I came here hoping I could get something for him, but I don't have enough." The man's gaze dropped to the small bundle in her arms. "How old is he?" 2 weeks, she replied, brushing her hand over her son's cheek. Without another word, the man placed his basket aside, walked to the shelf, and took 2 cans of formula, large ones. He added a pack of diapers, baby wipes, and a few food items. Then he turned back to her. "This is for you. And for him." Her eyes widened. "I can't let you." "You can," he interrupted gently. "I want to help." She stood there, stunned, as he paid for everything and handed her the bags. "I'm Michael," he said, smiling faintly. "Michael Carter." "Claire," she replied, still in disbelief. I don't know how to thank you." "Just make sure he grows up strong," Michael said. Then, almost as an afterthought, he added, "And let me carry these for you." On the walk back to her apartment, they talked. She learned that Michael was 32, worked as a firefighter, and had grown up in the same city. He didn't ask intrusive questions, just listened. That alone felt like a rare kindness. From that night on, Michael checked in every few days, not in a way that felt overbearing, but simply to make sure she and the baby were okay. Sometimes he brought groceries. Other times, he fixed small things in her apartment, like the squeaky door or the leaky faucet. Claire's trust grew slowly. She had been hurt before, and letting someone in was scary. But Michael never pushed, he simply showed up, consistently and quietly. Months passed. Her baby, whom she named Ethan, began to smile and laugh. And every time Michael visited, Ethan's tiny arms would reach for him, his eyes lighting up. One evening, after putting Ethan to bed, Claire sat across from Michael at her small kitchen table. The smell of homemade soup filled the room. Michael had insisted on cooking. "You've done so much for us," Claire began, her voice soft. "I don't understand why." You barely knew me. Michael's eyes met hers, steady and calm. Because I know what it's like to be alone. My mom raised me by herself after my dad left. There were days we didn't know where the next meal would come from. A neighbor once stepped in to help us. I promised myself that if I ever could, I'd do the same for someone else. Claire's eyes stung with tears. You've been more than a neighbor. More than a friend. He smiled. Good. Because I was hoping to be something more. Her heart skipped. Michael. I know you've been through a lot, he said gently. I'm not asking for an answer tonight. But I want you to know, I care about you. And I love Ethan like he's my own. If you'd let me, I'd like to be part of your family, not just as a friend, but as your husband. The words hung in the air, warm and terrifying all at once. Claire took a deep breath. Her mind flashed back to the night in the grocery store, the hunger, the fear, the way Michael's kindness had been like a lifeline. He had never once asked for anything in return. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she reached for his hand. You've already been more than I ever thought I deserved. I think Ethan and I would be lucky to have you. Michael's eyes softened, and in that quiet kitchen, with the baby sleeping peacefully in the next room, they sealed the beginning of a new chapter, not built on grand gestures or perfect timing, but on quiet, unwavering love. Sometimes the greatest love stories start with a simple act of kindness. You never know when one small gesture can change the course of someone's life forever.